go to the Spurs boys first, if I can be honest with you. Jacob, what a way to win it at the death.
Yeah, I mean, Brennan Johnson, wasteful the entire time he came on the pitch, wasn't doing well defensively. Had a moment there at the end. I thought, I didn't watch the replay, but I can't remember who played that pass into Richarlison, but really was just waiting the entire time, like, please don't mess this up, Richarlison. Laid a good ball to Sonny. Sonny with pinpoint sizzler across the ground. What more, could you want to end off a match? Honestly, I'm going to say about 75 minutes of that match was really poor from us. We allowed Brighton to do what they wanted to do. We were giving the ball away very cheaply. I thought Mickey Van de Ven had a really rough first 25 minutes there. First half, would love to forget about it. Wasn't great. I thought Brighton had many chances to go up 3-0, 4-0. Vicario kept us alive in it. So shout out to what I call the best keeper in the league, and I'll take that with some bias. But look, all 3 points, I love it. I absolutely love it. Sometimes this is kind of what we talked about last week, right, Terry, with Everton. A good side, a side that can compete eventually, wins these kinds of matches. It doesn't matter that we weren't great for about, I'd say 65% of that match. We got the job done at the end of the day. I would like to see better in all facets. The cheap giveaways, 2-3 passes on a counterattack and we're cut open. And that is indicative of something that's happened all season. So today I'm happy. Tomorrow I'll probably watch it with a little bit more scrutiny. At the end of the day, all I care about is 3 points. We got those. If we can continue to do that, hey, we're building something nice, and I'm here to witness it. Love to see it.
I do have to say as well, I've cost myself £750 today because I had no bottle. So I had an accumulator, and the 2 teams on it that weren't winning were Spurs and Southampton. When Southampton went 4-3 up, I cashed out at 280 quid. When that'll be it. And I'm still up because it was a £3.50 bet, but. And then Spurs got that goal. That's what I was most gutted about today. That's like £750 off of £3.50, by the way. But
that's good. That's a good anchor right there.
It's still a good turnaround. I'm still happy with it to a degree. I'm just a little bit gutted. But no, it's all good.
Honestly, I'll be honest. There at the last bit, it didn't look like we were trying to do anything with it anyway. It's just one of those moments where last man punching, last man standing, and sometimes it wasn't pretty, man. It's hard to walk away really confident, really like, yeah, we did do the business. I mean, Luton put 4 past these guys, and we could barely get 2. I wanted to see us get more goals, but it was a fun match from a neutral's perspective, I would assume. Not so much from a Tottenham perspective because we were really getting pressured the entire match. Not good enough, but got the win. I'm still a happy man.
I hear you. Will, do you echo that in terms of the way the game went?
I mean, the game for me, they pretty much controlled the first 45, 50 minutes. I mean, we had moments in the first half, but nothing that really, stood out to me and said, hey, we're going to get something from this game. But again, it just comes down to the quality. And for whatever reason, I don't understand why Postecoglou is giving these guys who came back over 7 days ago time on the bench. It's not like they've been injured and they're not match fit. They've played more matches over the last 2 or 3 weeks than the guys that have. I think 7 days is enough to get your sleep schedule straightened out. And then once that's straightened out, why aren't you playing? Because I don't understand why Richarlison, Timo Werner, and all these guys are still on the side when Basuma, Son, and those guys are back and have been back for the better part of a week. These are professional athletes, not businessmen, right? They can recover a lot faster than the normal guy. But then you saw those guys come in off the bench, and there was a change in pace. I mean, just the crowd alone when Son walked on the pitch was enough to let you know how much, us as a team have missed him as a player, and just being in the side altogether. And you saw some change there when he came on, and that was a brilliant ball across the face of the box. Again, Richarlison, regardless of the fact that he's been scoring a few goals here and there while Son's been out, is I thought was the most wasteful for me in that first half. How many times did he give away the ball very easily in their box for no apparent reason other than he's just not good?
Yeah, listen, I hear you on that, and I agree. Listen, I don't think these millionaire players have any excuses, even for jet lag because they fly in private jets where they have literal double beds where they can sleep, and they can plan it at a time where they can sleep, and their cycle isn't met. It's not like us having to fly coach and commercial where sometimes you got to leave at stupid o'clock in the morning. Like I don't think, to be honest with you, I don't think that's an excuse for rich people personally. But I hear you. But it's you picked up the 3 points today, Alan. How are you feeling afterwards? Buzzing with the win, or frustrated with the lack of cutting edge at times?
I'm happy with the win because it's 3 points. This is why I was so down about the Everton game, because if we go over the line in that game, an extra 2 points, the bridge to the people behind is so much better. But in this game, I was much happier with obviously getting the 3 points. Look, I agree with Will to the point that 45, maybe even 50 minutes of the game, Brighton were a better team. We were disjointed, no killer ball, no obviously. Although you got Maddison in the team, I don't think he's been at his best, obviously, since he's come back. Not being clinical enough. I honestly think that once we got that first 5 minutes after the break, we got into our groove. We had Brighton pinned back. We were doing everything like that. We got the equaliser. And I think Ange made a massive mistake in making 3 changes at that point. Make this change in bringing Son on for Werner, because I don't think Werner had his best game, and then keep the same as it is. Because as soon as he made that change, yep, the crowd was up for it, and we were all and everyone was excited to have these players back. But I think we made too many changes and enabled Brighton to come onto us and dictate the game. I think if he makes one change, the Son on for Werner, which I thought was going to happen. I thought once the goal goes in, he's going to tell everyone else to sit down and bring on Son. But yeah, I think he made too many changes, gave Brighton the impetus to come at us, and we held on, and then we were clinical in the end. Will said, we had the cutting edge, we had the clinical edge to go over the line. We got the goal, we got the late goal, and it's going back to what we were doing early part of the season. Can we keep doing that? Who knows? I don't think you can always do that, but we need to be able to control games more. And I think the more this team plays together now that everyone's come back, I think you'll see Spurs do well. Obviously, we've got a really tough time of it in April, which we'll look ahead to later on. But as of now, these are the games we need to be getting all the points built up ahead of steam, ahead of that tough period. But we can't keep leaving everything to the last minute. We have to show improved, keeping hold of the ball and making it count during the game. But yeah, again, that free substitution burst from Ange when we just equalised, I think actually derailed Spurs a bit and allowed Brighton to come onto us.
I disagree with that a little bit. I think the 3 subs was called for. It was necessary. We were flat. The Timo and Kulu were offering nothing on that way. I thought Kulu for the first part of the second half looked better than the first half, but that doesn't erase the lack of anything that he had really been offering. So I wasn't upset with the change. I felt like when Brighton was making that Ansu Fati change, that's when I was like, okay, I'm kind of ready to see someone else come on here because we're looking flat. We looked flat that entire match until that goal, and then we went back to being flat again. I don't think that is a product of Ange necessarily getting it wrong. And I find it strange. It's like every week it's, oh, he didn't make subs quick enough. Oh, he made too many subs. Oh, he did subs at this. It just, at a certain point, we're really trying to pick hairs out of a haystack, and it's to me, it was enough to get the 3 points. I felt like the starting 11, like Will said, we weren't with our strongest starting 11, and it showed. We were pretty bad for that first 45. We were pretty bad for parts of that second half there too. So I agree with most of the parts, except for that Ange got it wrong with the subs, or that the 3 subs was a problem. I thought that was necessary.
The 3 subs were a problem because the starting 11 wasn't the strongest starting 11, right? Like if you go with the starting 11 and then you're bringing those guys in off the bench, here to fill some dead legs or some tired bodies or something like that, or adjusting tactics where you feel like you need a little bit more of this, a little bit more of that. It would be a difference. But he was forced to do that because most of his better players were sitting on the bench. Like I just want to see the midfield. I just want to see the band together. And now that the band's all healthy, the band needs to be together. The band needs to be playing. It needs to be Basuma, Bentancur, Maddison in midfield. It needs to be Son, Kulusevski, and somebody else up top. Like we're still a man short in that front line, really, but that's what needs to be playing. We need to stop fiddling around with, Højbjerg's good enough, or You know, Richarlison can play in that number 9 because he scored a couple goals in the last couple of months.
I would like look. I agree. You got to find the best 11 and go for it. But for me, I don't see how you can keep Sarr at that team. I know he's young. He's not the finished article. This isn't me saying he's going to be this, that, and the other. But he is obviously improving through the season. The energy, the covering, the ball retention, the getting forward as well. He's an extra body going forward as well as defending. Yes, he's young. Yep, he's got a long way to go. He's not the finished article, but he is proving without a doubt that Conte got it wrong with him. Conte should have used him more, and he didn't. I think you will see over this season. I think Bentancur is one of my favourite players for Spurs, but he's not played to the level that Sarr has. Granted, injuries has played a factor. I'm not denying that. Then he's played better than Basuma continuously over the season. Yes, Basuma hasn't been there the whole time being away, but let's not forget the red cards. Let's not forget the poor performances after the first 6 or 7 games. I think Sarr, for what he brings to this team, I think he is paramount to this team at the moment, considering form and everyone's where they are in recovery from fitness. I think Sarr is a must to start in this team.
I think he's a good player. Like, I'm not saying he's a good player. I just don't think he's as good as the players that sit around him. And you got to remember that even under Conte, Bentancur was playing in a more forward position. He wasn't playing as a 6, right? He was playing as that box-to-box 8, getting into the box, taking shots from outside. That's how he got the goals that he got before he went out injured, that season. I think that we're basing it off of Bentancur's performances as a 6, but he's not a 6. He's a much more forward player, and I think that he brings more to the game than what Pape Matar plays. I don't think Pape Matar does a whole lot of things bad, but he doesn't do a whole lot of good things either, right? Like, yeah, he's got a couple of goals, but it's not because it's really just because the opportunities fell to him.
Yeah,
it's not like he created them himself like Bentancur does.
Well, he kind of created that first goal. I mean, it was the man playing him that the rebound led to him falling for him again. I think Pape Matar, I agree with Alan in the sense, I think Pape Matar has played well enough to say, this is my position, who's going to take it from me. I think Basuma, Bentancur have both given us reasons to wonder who's really going to take that. In my opinion, I just think that I agree with Will in the sense I would start Basuma, Maddison, and Sarr. Those are the 3 midfield that we had when we were undefeated on our beginning of the run in the season. So I think that would lend me to believe that's our best 11 to start with. But I love Bentancur. I just think that he had one good game against United, and then it's like bad game. And I'm really actually curious because I was kind of torn, and the chat on my watch along was very torn about it. Alan and Will, who did you think was better or worse on the first half, Bentancur or Sarr? Because between the two, some people were saying Sarr, some were saying I thought Bentancur, his passing was bad, Sarr's passing was bad, but he was winning the ball back. But then Bentancur had a great chance that it was a great through ball that I think it fell to Richie and he couldn't do anything with it. Who did y'all think was better out of those two?
I think they were just the same. I mean, Pape Matar was on the ball more because he's on that right-hand side of the pitch, and that's where we tend to start the transition. But, I mean, their passing accuracy was about the same. The number of times they gave the ball away was about the same. The number of defensive actions was the same. There's not a whole lot really that separated the two of them. And you've got, but Bentancur he's more press resistant. He doesn't give the ball away in as many silly positions. Pape Matar for me just gives the ball away way too much.
Great conversation, guys. Viewers, love to get your take, your views, and your opinions on that. I want to say congratulations to Qatar, by the way, for becoming Asian champions this afternoon, beating Jordan 3-1 on the night. So commiserations to Hassam, who of course have just seen his nation lose that game.